everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another Wednesday with the real football fans of New Jersey. This is my co-host Caitlin, and we are ready to bring you another episode of all the best things in the world of football and the world of housewives. It is episode 222, and if you can believe it, September is basically over. Next time you're with us, it will be October. We're heading into week 4 of the NFL season. We are rocking and rolling, people. And I just can't believe how I feel like it was just summer. I keep thinking that it's August.
September just wasn't a month, in my opinion. I think, I know we're rolling in some great poll questions tonight. That should be our first poll question. Was September a month? No, I think the unanimous answer is no. But I mean, listen, we've got football rolling, like you said. So we're turning a corner here. October is literally days away, which, I do love my October time. Yeah. So I've been spooky a little bit in September, but I'll go full spook mode once Saturday comes around.
Yeah, definitely good things on tap for October. But let's get into our poll results. So we did ask you guys 3 poll questions on our social media outlets. And I think this first one is a good one. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but Question number 1, and now we only have 2 I mean, only 3 weeks in, and we've already eliminated, 29 other teams. We are down to just 2 undefeated teams. So that begs the question, who is the better 3-0 team right now? The Miami Dolphins or the Philadelphia Eagles? 82% of you said the Philadelphia Eagles. Caitlin, who did you go with?
I mean, it puts a dagger in our hearts every time we have to mention that someone in the NFC East besides us is undefeated. I mean, listen, the Giants could have done it. I got to go with the Eagles on this one, though. I think what it comes down to is actually start to finish in games, what we go into week 4. I think the Eagles have actually really poised themselves the entire start to finish the entire season so far in 3 games. Miami's had to crawl back a little bit, and they've had to make some really intense plays near ends of games to finally win it. I think they're a very talented team. I love what I'm seeing out of Miami, and it's one of my hot takes of the season that they will compete with Buffalo in that division and they will go to the playoffs. So I said it before the season started, so it's no surprise to me what they're doing right now. I just think when you really look at both teams and pick them apart and you look at their play for the first 3 games from the first quarter until the 4th, I just think that the Eagles have really poised themselves and they're really showing up on all aspects of the field. So,
yeah, I went with Philly as well. And this was both of our picks to win the NFC East division this year, the Philadelphia Eagles. And a lot of people picked them over the
Seems like they're going to run with it. So at this point.
Yeah, and now it's like this is why we picked them, because I think they've almost exceeded expectations. We knew they had a good offense. We knew they had a good defense, but their defense is definitely one of the top in the league right now. And
their special teams looks very good. I mean, it's up and down.
And Jalen Hurts has been one of the best quarterbacks through 3 weeks as well. So I know Tua has exceeded expectations also, but I really feel like Jalen has been just on fire. So Philly is looking like a very, very dangerous and scary team. I had to go with them.
I sweat a little bit. So when I think of the name, so
knowing that we have to play them twice is
it's I don't want to. It's not. I actually during one of my workouts this week at Orange Theory, my coach had just come up next to me and said so what are we feeling about Philly? And I was like, just you saying that makes me sweat, right? I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous. I don't
they're good. We know they're good.
We know. It's just I don't want to think. I don't want to think about it. But the good thing is that we actually don't have to worry about it. We play them at the end of the season back to back. So we've got some weeks to, or I don't know if it's. Yeah, we've got not even to prepare, maybe for us as fans to mentally
prepare.
So we've got some time.
Okay, so we mentioned Jalen Hurts. He's obviously off to a hot start, but so is this quarterback. So we asked you guys, will Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson finish the regular season in the top 10 for rushing yards? And 72% of you guys said yes. Caitlin, do you agree?
I said yes as well. When you think of the running quarterback, the mobile quarterback, the first person that comes to mind for everyone is Lamar Jackson.
Right.
He almost, when he came onto the scene a couple years back, he almost made it hot again. He made it popular again for a quarterback to be mobile and to be successful. Like we saw it, maybe years past with a guy like Cam Newton and things like that.
He's probably one of the biggest since, and yeah, you mentioned Cam Newton, that's close to, but probably since like Michael Vick.
And that's what, and I'm definitely thinking that's where my head is going. But I want to say Lamar Jackson made it sexy again to be a mobile quarterback, and he's not, and not just we see a lot of quarterbacks trying it. Not many quarterbacks are like a Mac Jones. Mac Jones is very much a statue. He was like that at Alabama as well, and we're seeing it in New England, but a lot of guys are actually trying it. We're seeing whether it's a veteran quarterback on the scene or newer guys, you're seeing that mobility come into play, whether they're good at it or not. But Lamar Jackson, like I said, made it sexy again, but he's good at it. He's really, really good at it. He has it down. And that's kind of where I think he comes into trouble sometimes, to where maybe, last year we saw his offense kind of was on the decline. So he was throwing it, he was running it, he was doing everything. He was that offense, which wasn't sustainable for them. But he is just so good at it. And for me, this was a no-brainer to say yes to this question.
Yeah, I'm going yes as well. And I don't know how many career games Lamar Jackson has rushing for over 100 yards, but it's a lot. And if you think about your own team and your own running back, it's exciting whenever they go over 100 yards. It doesn't happen for some running backs and some teams. That doesn't happen very often. With Lamar Jackson, it could happen any game, any week.
Yeah. It could happen every season for him or whatever team he is on in the foreseeable future. This could be his thing. I really think it is.
Yeah. And I actually don't know. I didn't check to see if he's done it before where he has finished top 10 in rush yards, but he's definitely off to a hot start. He's up there now.
He's doing good. Yeah.
And if he hasn't been in the top 10 before, then he's definitely been like top 15, top 20. And on the pace he's going right now, and again, I know we're only 3 games in, he's definitely on pace for that. So I'm going with yes as well. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, because we are very excited, we have this premiering tonight, season 3. Do you consider the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to be a top 3 Housewives franchise? Again, that's a question to consider because they are only 3 seasons in. They're not one of the OG franchises. 61% of you said no. Caitlin, I don't even remember what you answered on my poll for this one. What do you got?
So I said yes, but I full transparency, I think my head was at current day, like current state. It wasn't all time in my head. Right. And it was interesting because when I looked at Instagram, and now I'm getting that your Instagram followers did the same thing. You looked at it all time. When we put it on Twitter, it was there was no answers to no. So I think our Twitter audience was in my head and both of our Instagram audiences were in your head I just was thinking present day, but I know now that the question was meant all time. All time, yes, the answer is no, but I do think present day, they are top 3 for me 100%. But so, yeah, I know I kind of screwed that one up because I was just thinking I was thinking because it is on tonight. So I was like, what's the Housewives slate right now?
Well, I looked at it in 2 different ways also, but I looked at it, my answer was no. So right. I looked at it in 2 different ways of, is it one of my personal favorite 3 Housewives franchise? Yes. But I'm looking at it not Katie and what's my favorite. I'm looking at the Housewives in general across the board, the history of the Housewives.
Okay.
Obviously, they're just starting season 3 tonight. They are a newer franchise. So you have to think about New York and New Jersey and Atlanta and Beverly Hills and Orange County. Those will always, as much as we love Salt Lake City and it's my personal top 3, across the board, thinking generally for everybody, it's not a top 3 franchise just yet. They need more under their belt. So
I like the way you looked at it. I think that makes sense. So,
but those were our poll questions. Thank you guys so much for voting on that. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions or comments, obviously we are live, so you can slide in at any point and we will do our best to engage with you guys.
Get them on in. I just popped the YouTube link over on Twitter. So I do see a ton of people on Twitter already watching us. Thank you guys as always. It is just a little bit easier to pop your questions, comments in over on YouTube, but you guys are free to watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever is easiest for you. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get into our big stories of the week for football? We hate doing this, but we're entering week 3. And yes, there are still more injuries across the league.
It was a big injury week.
It was, and it was kind of it was a cringy injury week across the board. So one of the cringiest injuries I think we are starting with New England quarterback Mac Jones is diagnosed with a severe high ankle sprain that would cause a lot of people to have surgery. We think it's on the board. I mean, I even saw today though the question mark of him playing this weekend. I don't think it's no. Yeah. He's probably going to miss a lot of games. This one was particularly cringy. What I say is because when they pulled him off the field, there are visuals. There is video of him just being you see it in his face. It's excruciating pain. He is screaming going into the locker room. So I just, I always whenever I see these hits happen on the field, especially the guys that are mic'd up, you hear it. I'm on my couch and I'm I would be in a coma in the ICU if I got tackled by one of these players. And you see guys like Mac Jones, you see guys Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, they've been taking the heat these past 3 weeks, and I'm just whew, they do this for a living. So, so we'll see what happens there. Chargers offensive tackle Rashawn Slater is expected to miss the rest of the 2022 season with I hate these so much, a ruptured bicep tendon. You see that these guys, they've got big quads, they've got big biceps, and just to know that entire muscle is tearing from them, got to be super, super painful. Yeah. I don't like seeing that. That grosses me out too.
That is a huge loss for that offense.
Oh yeah.
Rashawn Slater is one of the top, young offensive linemen in the league.
Yeah. So we got a left tackle out of Tennessee, Taylor Lewan, will miss the remainder of the 2022 season with a right knee injury. So unfortunately, we are seeing season-ending injuries across the board, which you never want to see.
Yeah. Taylor Lewan has had now an extremely injury-plagued career. Which is very disappointing considering he is, he's constantly on the NFL top 100 players. Yeah. And he's constantly making Pro Bowls. He is another offensive lineman star, but unfortunately, we're not seeing him play, 17-game seasons anymore.
No, of course not. And honestly, with the Tennessee team against just from, with the Giants, we weren't really getting to Tannehill, so they were their line was putting up a fight. So it's hard to see that for sure. Yeah. All right, then we got Buffalo safety Micah Hyde is placed on season-ending IR with a neck injury. Again, that's something that you don't want to see.
Those are always very, very serious, the neck injuries.
Yeah.
Sometimes you cannot come back from that.
No.
Let alone a season. Sometimes that ends your career.
It's just done. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there, obviously. Cleveland linebacker Anthony Walker, again, season-ending injury, a torn quad tendon. A lot of these injuries are very specific as well, which is just, it's gruesome to see. We have 2, and these latest are not breaking, but they're the most updated. Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa is placed on IR. He does have a groin injury, and he needs surgery. I got to tell you, Katie, I don't know if you've ever hurt your groin, but it is the most painful thing.
I've been very lucky to have never, and I'm knocking on wood, I've got wood in front of me. I've never broken a bone. I've never sprained anything. The most I ever did, and I did it when we were in high school playing soccer, was I pulled my groin and just pulled.
Yeah.
That shit hurts.
I did it the same thing in soccer. I think in high school, I think I was in 10th grade. It feels, people, like and I've broken bones. Is I've done the whole enchilada. I've broken my fingers and my toes. It's not that painful, but it feels feels like someone is pulling your leg out of its socket. Just every move you make,
it hurts to walk. Every step hurts.
It just feels like your leg is being ripped off of your body. It is the most painful thing out of, I think, everything that I've ever done. I've had my sister hit me in the face with a metal baseball bat. She'll be so mad that I brought that up because I bring it up all the time. I'll never let her live that down. Everything. And that is the most painful injury. And it's, you're in the group if you know what that pain is like. And I just, to know that someone as tough and as strong as Joey Bosa is going on an injury with that and needs surgery, like I can just, hate that.
Yeah.
And then huge blow to our New York Giants, and just huge blow to this player. I've been feeling so bad for him over the past couple of days. Sterling Shepard is done for the season with a torn ACL, and this most likely will probably conclude his time with the New York Giants. I must say
this is the end of his football career.
Well, I think it should be.
I thought the last Sterling Shepard injury was going to end his time with the Giants, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And here he is. And now I feel as though this injury, I really hate to think it, say it, but I think this is the end of his football career. This is devastating. Sterling Shepard has been injured like every year. He's our longest tenure player with the Giants right now on our active roster. He is our veteran. And unfortunately, though, every season it has been something for Sterling, and a torn ACL is as bad as it gets.
Yeah. I feel so bad for him. Talk about a player with heart, leadership, and just wanting to do everything for his team to win. Came out really strong when we drafted him. I just, made connections with his quarterback, always made connections with his offensive players around him. I truly feel bad for him. It really hurts me to see this. And the injury, from him running up the field by himself to see it just happen, that's scary.
You knew the season was over for him.
It's scary to see that. So honestly, I must say, just, coming from being a Giants fan, just, we definitely thinking about Sterling Shepard. And I think, he's expressed his gratitude over the last 24 hours in multiple social media posts, really going out and thanking his teammates, thanking the fans on an individual basis. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and maybe, hey, we'll see you around North Caldwell, buddy. But for now,
all right. So let's get into our week 3 thoughts. Obviously, we had plenty of week 3 injuries, unfortunately, but let's get into the actual games themselves. We did have a late interception by Chicago linebacker Roquan Smith to set up a game-winning field goal for his team to beat Houston 23-20. Chicago somehow has 2 wins on the season. I still believe that they're not a good team, but we will see, because we've got our facing them this weekend. But Las Vegas, they had a game-tying 2-point conversion attempt that failed as they lost to Tennessee 24-22. 0-3 for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm shocked.
They've played difficult teams. Let's give them that. But I don't think people would have predicted 0-3. This is still a team that I believe, and I think people would still believe, that this should be and will be a playoff team. But an 0-3 start is really hard to overcome. Mm-hmm. Indianapolis, the biggest freaking upset of the weekend. Of course, it was
our lock.
Both of our locks. I swear, I'm done. I'm done with this season.
I think that Katie, I think they had an insider listening to our show, because we talked a lot of shit on the Colts last week, just being like, "What are you doing? Who are you?"
Still not a believer in the Colts, but they did upset Kansas City 20-17 for their first win of the season.
They were listening.
What was going on with KC? But because KC, it's not like they've started out slow; they've started out hot. So this was a weird one. I don't know what happened. Let's talk about probably the most exciting game of the weekend between Buffalo and Miami, 2 of the hottest teams in the league so far.
Yeah.
The clock ran out on Buffalo as they were trying to, get down the field, but they ended up losing to Miami 21-19. I know that they completed like a big play to Isaiah McKenzie, and then they were trying to line up and time just expired on them. So that's always rough to see.
Yeah. They aren't the only team though, you know, as much as I think I made the hot take last week that like I don't think anyone's good this season. I'm still kind of on that little bit of a route. I need to see where we land in the next couple of weeks, but I'm still what I've seen so far in 3 weeks is that a lot of clock management mess ups have happened. And I think when it comes to Buffalo, you are trying to position yourselves to win that game. What could have you have done differently in that previous, section where you had the ball, like from a time management standpoint, as you're inching down to a divisional rival? So they're not the only ones. In 3 weeks, I've seen a ton of screw ups across the board from a time management standpoint. And that's just, in this day and age in the NFL, that is just, you need to know what the hell you're doing.
It's unacceptable. Right. But at the same time, we're 3 weeks in. So these are the things that you have to learn from and make sure that they don't happen the rest of the way. Buffalo will obviously face Miami again. And I'm still a huge believer that I think, despite the fact that they're not one of the 3-0 undefeated teams, I still believe Buffalo is the top team in the league right now.
They are 100%.
And, they made for exciting football with a really hot Miami Dolphins game. I know everybody's going to be super pumped to watch the next one.
Right.
And like I said, it's just something they have to learn from. Be happy that it happened, in a week 3 game instead of an absolutely crucial game at the end of the season. They'll learn from it. They'll move on. Miami, obviously, one of 2 3-0 teams left. Philly is the other one. They defeated Washington 24-8. We also had another pretty big upset, but Justin Herbert was a little bit banged up.
Yeah,
a true game time decision. Whether he was going to play or not. He did end up playing, but we all know he's battling some rib injury right now. But Jacksonville upset the Chargers 38-10 on a 3-touchdown day by quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and also a 100 rush yard and 1 rushing touchdown day by running back James Robinson. So 2 great performances from 2 of their leaders on offense. So Atlanta, they sealed a 27-23 win over Seattle with a late interception off of quarterback Geno Smith. And Denver forced a late fumble to beat San Fran in an ugly 11-10 game.
It was like the most boring football game I've ever watched.
It was boring. It was definitely boring.
I went to bed early, full transparency.
I will say I know Denver won this game. I really have not liked what I have seen from Russell Wilson with his new team so far through 3 weeks. It hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked like Russell Wilson. He really hasn't. So
no. And you know what? And I stand by going into the season. I was never high on the Broncos,
and I was.
Vicky, you're not alone. It's so many people were, and I just needed to see it. I just needed to see. Again, we are 3 weeks in. It is a brand new team. We saw. I think I mentioned this when I was talking about Russell Wilson going into the season. We saw Jared Goff go to a new team last season, and he was wearing a wristband for the first time in his life. Like, he was never wearing the plays on his wrist. But it was
but Russell Wilson is different than Jared Goff. That's why
it's not really showing it.
That's why the people that were like excited and hyped and were like all about like, yes, the Broncos are going to be good. It was mainly because of Russell Wilson, and he just hasn't looked comfortable in that offense yet.
Well, that's the factor. That's kind of where I wasn't comparing him to Jared Goff. But I was saying I think even too, when Peyton Manning went over to the Broncos, you saw the same thing. It's not right away that click that's going to make sense. Like, I don't care if you're, I guess Tom Brady's whatever, throw him out the window. I don't use him as a comparison. Like, you could literally be the best of the best and just you move over. It takes time to adapt. And unfortunately, though, we're going into week 4 and we don't know what we're going to see out of this crew.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm definitely not ready to count them out. We are only 2 weeks in, and he is with a new team, and I still think they are capable of being a playoff team this season, just like I think the 0-3 Raiders are capable of being a playoff team. But Russell needs to start finding his groove with his new teammates and start passing the freaking ball to someone other than Cortland Sutton. I'm going to lose my mind. I got Jerry Jeudy on both of my fantasy football teams. That's my get it off my chest junior.
That's my pregame to get it off my chest. All righty. Well, we are moving into another week of NFL football. And like we said, it has been crazy. But we are still going to give you our picks, whether you want to look at them or not. But I think we said it last week, no one's safe. I think we're going with that mentality. I kind of went with that mentality again this week. So we're going to give you our picks as we do for every single game going into each week. We also give you one lock and one upset. Those have been extremely difficult this season so far. So take it with a grain of salt.
I've never struggled so much in our 5 years of doing this show to make lock picks.
Well,
usually you see the schedule for the week and it just immediately like maybe 2, 3, 4 options jump out at you. And now I'm like, I don't know who to trust. Who can I trust?
I know. And I already made my picks and everything, and I'm not going to go back and change them. But like before the show, I'm like, now I kind of want to change myself, but I'm not going to. I'll give you guys the raw picks that I already made earlier this afternoon. So, but Katie, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with your picks for the week?
All right. In week 4, I am going with Cincinnati, New Orleans, Cleveland, Buffalo, Dallas, Detroit, the Chargers, Tennessee. The game that I went back and forth on a million times, I am going to go with the New York Giants, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Green Bay, Las Vegas, Kansas City, and the Rams. My lock is going to be the Green Bay Packers over, I believe, a non-Mac Jones New England Patriots team. And my upset, I know I picked Cincinnati to beat Miami, but technically now I'm looking at spreads. So technically that wasn't an upset, but I did pick Cincinnati. I'm going with New Orleans over Minnesota.
All right. I think we had 7 similar, but I know we pull from the same thing. For some reason, your Buffalo Baltimore pick was above mine, so that threw me off. But it's the same. We pull it from the same thing. So I don't know why.
I don't know.
That's why I got mine from ESPN too. That's why when you said Buffalo, I was like, wait, where am I?
Maybe one of our eyes like skipped one. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. It's probably me. So, but I think we had 7. We could potentially have 8. So, all right. So starting off tomorrow night, I went with Miami. Moving into Sunday, I put the Saints, Atlanta, Dallas, Detroit, Tennessee. I went with the New York Giants as well. Philadelphia, the Jets, the Buffalo Bills. That's where they landed on my list for some reason. The Chargers, Arizona, Green Bay, Las Vegas, Kansas City, and wrapping up Monday night with the San Francisco 49ers. My lock, and I picked them obviously to win as well, but going in right before the show, I did see a report. Now I kind of want to take it back. I am going with Miami over Cincinnati with my lock, but Tua might not play this weekend. So
that's why technically, if you look at like the betting and the spread,
right?
That's why it's not an upset, because people were like, I knew people were unsure if Tua was going to be fully healthy or not.
Well, I'm just going to, you know what, with the state of this NFL, I'm just sticking with my guns, people.
Backup is Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, I love Teddy.
That's not to say that if Tua was out, Miami could still win that game. So
True. And then I guess this is technically an upset, but I did go with Atlanta over Cleveland. So they're only 1 game behind each other. But I guess I don't really know these days with what's an upset and what's not. So
who did I pick in that? Atlanta. I picked Cleveland.
Yeah. So
all right.
Another weird week and another, I don't know. I could go back and change them all again, like I said.
My gut told me to pick Chicago over the Giants because of the fact that it's a winnable game for the Giants and it's a must win that like I'm
Right.
like, oh, they'll screw us over and they'll
Some way.
lose. So that was my gut. And then like last second I switched it over. So
I swear to God,
this is the win that we absolutely need. So
if we lose, it's your fault.
all right, let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of housewives. This first one is coming out of Beverly Hills and is about an OG, Miss Lisa Rinna. Reports have come out that if Bravo wants Lisa back for season 13 of Beverly Hills, they're going to have to show her the money. Lisa is reportedly currently negotiating her contract with Bravo, and she wants to be the highest paid Real Housewife across all the franchises. Otherwise, she will not return. I do have a quote on the back from a source saying, at this point, Bravo needs Lisa more than Lisa needs Bravo. She was a star before Bravo and will be a star long after Bravo too. Lisa knows her worth and knows how to negotiate. Only Lisa is willing to call their bluff and walk away if she doesn't get the deal she wants. While the other ladies are frightened to upset Andy, Lisa is fearless and she's not frightened of him or anyone else. Insiders note that she is demanding $2 million a season. If you are curious about what is the highest paid salary right now amongst all the housewives, that belongs to Real Housewives of Atlanta's Candy Burris, who makes just a little under $2 million per season. Lisa joined Real Housewives of Beverly Hills during season 5 in 2014. And as of right now, I happened to notice, because I was looking this week at the BravoCon lineup, that as of right now, she is also one of the most notable names to not be joining the other Bravo Levs at this year's BravoCon. We basically, if you look at the list, it's like everybody.
Everyone.
There's nobody missing.
Yeah.
So she is like that big name that is missing from that list. And it could have to do with contract negotiations. So
that's fair.
I
don't know. I don't think she doesn't deserve to be the highest paid.
I feel like
I don't like her, so that's my opinion.
Everything that all the storylines and like everything that Teresa Giudice has given to the housewives.
How is she not the highest paid?
I feel like she should be the highest paid. And by the way, I know we recently told you guys that she was competing on Dancing with the Stars and she has already been eliminated.
She's
so
done.
I'm not a Dancing with the Stars watcher. It's still airing on Disney Plus, but she was eliminated pretty early, our girl.
I did her first dance. They did incorporate the table flip into it. So I thought that was very clever. The dance, like when she does it, is really awkward. And I only saw it like on, like, I get why they did it, but like I guarantee you people watching Dancing with the Stars don't know her. So they're probably like, what is that?
I don't know. I feel like if people don't watch Housewives, have never watched an episode in their entire life, I feel like if you were to ask them, like, if you had to name, like, can you even name a Housewives moment? They would be like, oh yeah, didn't that lady flip that table? I feel like that's what they would say. So if you see her competing on it and they're like, oh, who is she? Oh, she's a housewife. And then she flips the table.
Right.
I feel like you would get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought the dance is like, it was like kind of like an awkward, like, I don't know, like going from dance to flipping it, but I respect the the idea of doing it. But yes, she is eliminated. But I think it's a good point to bring her up. Like I don't like Lisa Rinna. I never have on Beverly Hills. She's actually one of the reasons why I stopped watching Beverly Hills. I don't really like what she's brought to the table. A lot of people do love her. I think she sucks, to be honest. And I hate the comment from the quote that you had read, like, Bravo needs her, but like she doesn't need them. Then fucking leave, honestly. Like, I don't like leave. That, in my opinion, that franchise has gone so downhill. I don't know why so many people are still like obsessed with it. Like I've been so over it for so long.
Don't you feel like Bravo and Andy's reaction would almost be similar to what the source is saying? Like, Lisa was a star before and she'll be a star again with or without Bravo. I feel like Bravo's response would be like, well, the housewives have existed without you before, and they'll continue to exist without you again.
Yeah. Like, bitch, you came in 2014. Get the hell out of here. That was like, get out. Enough. I think this is stupid. Yeah. Not cool. All right, we do got some other stuff coming on with Housewives, and this one made me cackle like no other because David Beador, obviously he's the ex-husband of Real Housewives of Orange County, Shannon Beador. Listen, there's some messy stuff going on with his marriage. So the other week, TMZ reported that David Beador has filed for divorce from his new wife, Leslie Beador, just 23 months after getting married. He said I can't hate this word. Irreconcilable. I know. I've always it's a tongue twister. I've hated that word my entire life. Irreconcilable differences and listed their separation date as 9/15. He was also reportedly seeking joint and physical and legal custody of their 19-month-old daughter. So that was a huge thing too. Like, people need to understand, like, we all went berserk, like, when he was getting married, like, randomly again.
They had a kid.
Like, right away. Like, and they did these weird ass, like, well, that was their engagement pictures were like nude pictures on the beach, which no one should watch. If you are eating, you're a throw up, honestly. David made sure to sign a prenup before the marriage and also wanted the court to terminate the ability to award spousal support to Leslie, his wife. However, days later, Leslie claimed on her Instagram story that David filed a request for a dismissal a few days ago and shared a photo of the two of them that said, "Now back to your regular programming." Weird. Despite Leslie's post, a public information officer for the Superior Court of California in Orange County told Page Six there hasn't been any request to dismiss at this time. David also has yet to comment on everything. Katie, I know you have a late, like, breaking news update here. So
this is a post in the last 24 hours after we already did our notes for the show. Leslie Beador has now gone on Instagram after being like, he is not requesting a divorce anymore, back to your regular scheduled programming. She's now gone onto Instagram in the last 24 hours and said that she is filing for divorce. So I literally have the caption. She wrote, I am filing for divorce. While this is not what I would have ever expected, it is what is best. I value myself and the happiness and well-being of my children. I am so grateful for a tremendous circle of friends and family who support me. Looking forward to a bright and happy future with my beautiful kiddos. And this came, I actually have this post from an account called I Live for Bravo on Instagram. And their caption was, oof, the secondhand embarrassment I have for her recent posts.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just like,
to have gone publicly and been like, first off, it's embarrassing that it came out like that he filed for divorce. And then it's like embarrassing that you're like, listen, everybody, like she's confirming, yes, he did. And now he's taking it back. Like, look at us. We're so in love with, we're so happy. And then 2 days, 3 days later, she's back on Instagram having to be like, okay, so I'm filing for divorce.
So we're back.
Freaking idiot.
No.
It's so bad.
This is why, listen, your personal social media, it is when you're in a relationship, your family, you post pictures, you do it, but you can't make it like your life and this thing where you're obsessed and it's and everything. Because then, as soon as you stop or as soon as you start deleting stuff, the world is looking, the world is there, everyone sees, and you can just tell, for me, I can see, first of all, I'm the queen of knowing when someone posts a picture and then they delete it and post it later because they didn't get enough likes. I can notice that right away. Okay. But I also I'm in social media for every single day of every second. So I can see it and I'm just what, at the end of the day, if you, God forbid, died tomorrow, do you really think your legacy was that picture that you posted, that got 8 million likes, or the fact that you showcased to the world that your relationship is fake. Like you could tell from people like that. Like I mentioned earlier, like their engagement pictures, they were like nude on the beach. Why did you do that? Did you do that for the Insta? I think you did. You did it for the gram. You literally did those pictures for the gram. And now you are less than a year later with a 19-month-old child, and you are in this sticky, gross, awful divorce situation. And that child is going to grow up, and you're going to have to explain it to them. And you're going to have to say, listen, I took nude pictures with your father on the beach. It was gross. And then we filed publicly for divorce on Instagram. Like, if my parents told me that, I would be mortified. Mortified. So
it's very embarrassing, to say the least. So
just, do you not care? I always say this. Do people not have any shame? Like,
a lot of these people, no shame in their game.
I see someone do something embarrassing in public, and I personally think about it for weeks on end. Like, I'm not even that person. I could see someone trip in public, Katie, and I think about it. It's not even me. I didn't do the embarrassing thing. And that's just with other people. My own embarrassing things I think about for years on end. I just don't get how people don't have any shame. Like, you just, like, come on. Like, it's not cool. And I hate seeing stuff like this because it's like embarrassing for the people. But like when you bring like a kid into it, like that just really freaking sucks. So
definitely.
Oh, but
right. Well, let's get into our game for the night. It is football related and it is one of our OG games called Sip Yo Drink and Fill in Yo Blank. So we actually did this last year after week 3. Same questions. So we're looking at the following statements. We're going to fill in the blanks, what we've seen so far after 3 weeks of football. Got some good ones here. So statement number 1 is the NFL division that has looked the most solid through 3 weeks is blank.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard because I think that you're looking at, I don't think 4 teams have looked good or solid throughout 3 weeks, honestly. So that you have to like pick and choose. Like, is it 2 teams? Right. Is it 3 teams? Maybe that third team is questionable. It's funny, when I first looked at this question, I was like, dare I say the NFC East? Because they kind of like were all on this like track, and then like obviously like Dallas fell with the loss.
Honestly, we have the NFC East have some of the most wins, or might be tied for the most wins. They 3, Giants are 2, Dallas is 2. Like,
yeah. So I said, dare I say the NFC East, and I'm kind of sticking by my guns here because I think it's kind of you can argue against it if you'd like to, not you personally, but like anyone out there. But the arguing in favor of that is actually more powerful. But I also just did want to like call out like the AFC East with, Miami and the Bills. They are just, obviously they've got some question marks, alongside, with other teams in the division. But I looked at both divisions, and to look at Miami and to look at the Bills, like they are scary to look at amongst all other teams. And I think that just overpowers, the Patriots and the Jets being not good. So that's kind of where I was stuck. So I did want to mention them as well, but I think just like consistency across the board, like I said, like I kind of wanted to bring up the NFC East.
Well, I put the NFL division that has looked the most solid through 3 weeks is no one.
Well, you know what? Honestly, Katie, I drink to that because you are 100% correct, but I did not play it that way, and I should have.
I didn't play that way either. I have an answer. I said no one, but the AFC East, only because they have the 2 of the league's top teams for 3 weeks with Miami and Buffalo. So yeah, you're right. There's not a division that even has 3 teams that have looked solid through 3 weeks. So it's more so coming down to 2, and you've got 2 of the best so far in this season with the AFC East with Miami and Buffalo. Number 2, the NFL division that has looked the worst, everybody, through 3 weeks is blank.
literally every division, like you said, but the AFC South sucks. They've had that branded on them for a little bit now, and I think it just kind of proved it. They're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, I guess I could definitely agree with yours because I do think overall they're like the worst division.
Right.
Could be the worst this year. But mine was more so like disappointment with a division that should be good and they've just been shit. I'm going with the NFC West. I think they should be the second best division. But the Rams are in first place right now with a 2-1 record, but even they have looked sketchy. San Fran has looked sketchy. Seattle is bad. Arizona is bad. This is normally a division that we're looking at like, yeah, definitely like three teams. There are three teams sending to the playoffs here. And nobody has looked dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I'm not liking what I'm seeing out of the NFC West. All right, number 3, I would kill to have blank on my fantasy team.
Cooper Kupp. I don't have him, and I love him. And oh, you are so lucky. He's averaging what, like 20 plus points per game? Great. Well, it depends, I guess, what league you're in. But you go in expecting at least that amount. He is so good. I've had him in years past, and I'm so high on him. If you've obviously listened to our show before, you can even go. Anyone can go back and pull up the receipts. I've been high on Cooper Kupp for so long. Going into this season too, I think he can repeat what he did last season. I wanted him so bad in all 3 leagues I was in this year. And next year I'm pulling the freaking trigger, like round 1. I don't give a shit. I'm getting him.
He is for sure my safety blanket. Absolutely.
He's just so good. I really would kill for him at this point. Like I just fully told everyone I'm going to go after him in the first round next year. So watch out.
There's been some really nice quarterbacks out there, but I'm content with my quarterbacks with Mahomes and Herbert.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with someone who I'm liking the offense. I'm liking the big playability. I went with Miami wide receiver Jalen Waddle.
I have him. I love it. I love it. It was such a good pickup. And I got him at a reasonable time too. It was still like I definitely needed to reach a little bit, but it was so good. And yes, if I didn't have him, I 100% agree with you. I would kill for him.
Number 4, I think blank will lead the league in interceptions this season. So what quarterback will throw the most interceptions?
He's not the top one right now, but he's relatively near the top. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan. It's just because the Colts, I just don't think are going to get it all together. Yeah, they had a win last week, but I think they're just going to kind of diminish. And Matt Ryan, I don't know what the hell their mindset was pulling him into this team this year. He's not good in my opinion, and I think this should be if they're not good, nothing happens. He should be done. So he's going to keep screwing up. That team's not going to do anything in his favor. So,
all right. The only way this guy's not going to do it is if he is not healthy and doesn't play a full season. But if he is, I'm going with New Orleans quarterback Jameis Winston.
He does throw a lot of
He had a league high 30 interceptions in 2019, and he has a history of always being at the top of the interception.
He is now. What is he, like 3 right now?
He's tied for first so far.
For first.
5 interceptions. So there's I want to say there's like 4 or 5 quarterbacks right now that have thrown 5 so far, and they're all tied for first.
Oh, okay.
He is one of them. So he's always at the tippy top of that list, and I think it will be him. All right, number 5. I think blank will lead the league in touchdown passes this season. So what quarterback will throw the most touchdowns?
I'm going to go with Josh Allen here. I've actually really liked him being aggressive and kind of trying to take it himself this season. I've called that out on a couple of the last episodes. But he really connects, with his offense and gets that ball into the end zone. And I love what I've seen so far. So I think just at the end of the season, it'll be a natural fit for him to have the most touchdowns.
All right. I went with Josh Allen as well. I think he will take the reign for the first time in his career as the top touchdown passer. And I think he'll make a case, obviously a strong case for MVP this year.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, I think head coach blank is my early hot seat candidate for getting fired this season.
I know that we are not fans of first-year coaches getting fired, but I think with just, how the team has started and just conversations that are going on internally with the team, especially after this most recent loss, I'm going to go with Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas with the Raiders. So apparently after this week's loss, he was pulled into a critical meeting with the head office to really talk about things, because I think a lot of us are shocked that they are starting at 0-3.
Yeah.
I had made a comment last week off the show that, are they the Dallas Cowboys of years past, to where on paper they are so freaking good and you do not want to face this team. But then when you get on the field, they just aren't producing. And we're actually seeing that from Dallas this year again. History's repeating itself in Dallas, that, the playmakers are there, the names are there, the stats of a while are there, but you're just not seeing it every time you play on Sunday. You have a primetime game Monday, Thursday, Sunday night. So I think that it's aggressive. And I personally don't like people getting fired year one, but if I have to say, with what's been going on so far and just from hearing that quote unquote meeting that happened after the game, I can see it.
All right. This guy is definitely getting fired, in my opinion, this season. I am going with Carolina head coach Matt Rhule.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
In his first 2 seasons, he is in his 3rd season now with Carolina, but in his first 2 seasons, his record has been 10-23. And it's not like his 3rd season is going to be pretty either. This is one of, I think I probably had them in my bottom 5 teams where I thought they were going to end up before the season started. And I think, he's going to head back to college, and this is going to be it for Matt Rhule.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, and sometimes that transition does not make sense. We've seen it before. Listen, Nick Saban went to the NFL and he sucked. He went back to college, and here we are with this, like what he has historically with Alabama. The transition does not make sense sometimes. And it's not even just for coaches. Players, the transition doesn't make sense sometimes. It is a completely different game. People need to understand that. And I think sometimes people don't, if you're not fully like immersed in both, you don't understand it sometimes, because you're looking at big names like Georgia and Alabama, and you're watching them and they're like 100% they can compete with the worst team in the NFL. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The game, it's a wild transition for a kid that's, playing a sport, this month, and then has to go to the NFL the next month, and it's completely different for them. But coaches, it's the same thing. You could be coaching your entire life. The big stage, the NFL, is just, it's not it for some people. So, yeah. So, but Matt Rhule can go back to college and be very successful. That can definitely be the case. So,
yeah. All right, number 7. I think the blank conference has looked better so far. So who's looked better, NFC or AFC?
Listen, it's funny that we went into this season saying how strong the AFC was over the NFC. But as we sit today, I actually think I went through each division and I counted on my fingers. I think that team's good. I think that team's good. I think I came out with like 6 in the AFC and 7 in the NFC. And it was just me being like, I think they're a good team, things like that. And that's just, no one take that. It's just me going, they're good. So I'm actually going to go with the AFC, though, because of the reason that you had mentioned earlier, with one of the strongest divisions, with Miami and Buffalo being in the AFC.
Baltimore has been a really hot team too, and they're obviously in the AFC as well.
Right. So just to bring up even those just 2 teams, I think everyone, or even the Chiefs, they're good as well.
Right. Of course.
If I'm the NFC, like even like the Eagles, like you like look to go play one of those 2 teams, like you should be shaking in your boots, to be honest. Like they are good. So while it was weighed out by, I think like 1 team more in the NFC just from 3 weeks of play, I still had to give the advantage to the AFC because of Buffalo and Miami.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because I think if you look at the power rankings on NFL.com right now and you look at the top 10, there's like 5 AFC teams and 5 NFC teams in the top 10. So I was seeing that across. I was trying to do similar things to you as well. And it's pretty freaking even, but I'm giving the slight edge to the AFC as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 8, the most impressive quarterback through 3 weeks so far has been blank.
I'm going to go with Josh Allen on this one. You'll see, numbers from yards, touchdowns, interceptions kind of vary across the board. But for me, he's got like over 1,000 yards, I think. I think he's only thrown 2 interceptions. Maybe it may actually be 3. I'm not 100% sure. But I think from what I've seen, like just up and down the field with Josh Allen, I'm just really impressed. And what I see to the future in this season, I just got to go with him here. So
I'm going with Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson. He has no offense right now. He is the offense. There's no run game. And he is first in touchdown passes right now. And he is 5th in the league in rush yards. He is doing it all for Baltimore. He really is. And I know, like you mentioned it earlier in the show, that's not super sustainable. So we'll see how this plays out. But through 3 weeks, he's putting the Baltimore Ravens on his back and leading them to victories. So I had to go with him. All right, number 9. I don't know why people don't give more credit to blank.
So I guess my answer might be like, some people might like put up a question mark and be like, what are you talking about? He does get credit. But just kind of hear me out here. So I'm going with Kareem Hunt. So the reason why I'm picking Kareem Hunt is obviously you have Nick Chubb. Before we went into the season, Katie, you and I both, deemed them as the top running back duo going into, because they are. Yeah. And what I think where I'm trying to get at with this is because after 3 weeks, if you have Nick Chubb on fantasy, if you're just watching the games, he's doing Nick Chubb things. He's taking the team, he's moving the ball, he's getting into the end zone, doing everything that a powerhouse running back does, everything that an NFL team dreams of in their running back. So that's it. The praise is there for him. What I like from Kareem Hunt is that he's really owning that RB2 role. He's doing what he needs to do and getting that team 5 yards, 10 yards, what they need to do to get to position Nick Chubb into what he's doing. So, but also what I like from Kareem Hunt is that in the first game of the season, they were actually going back and forth. And you actually didn't know who RB1 was in that scenario. Mm-hmm. So for me, that really stands out for a player like him in the position that he's in. So I think that while it definitely might be a question mark for me to bring that up, because people are like, of course, Kareem Hunt, he's very talented. People are giving him praise. I think over the last 3 weeks, it's obviously been the Nick Chubb show, but there's who do we have RB2? Like who the hell, like, you know what I mean? Like it's Saquon Barkley. There's a lot of teams that don't have that secondary player that does his job properly, but also could slide his way in and help the team actually. I don't know if Nick Chubb's going to be the answer today. I'm going to do that. So that's why I brought that up. Again, it might be a little controversial because, again, people, of course, like, it's a big name in the NFL, but that's just kind of my reasoning behind that. So,
all right. My answer, who doesn't get enough credit, and funny enough, I picked this before he was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So the NFL is recognizing him. But I am going with Atlanta running back Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
I have no idea why this man was rated so low on everybody's fantasy football boards.
Probably because he plays for the Falcons.
Yeah, maybe, but I did not understand it. And he is now 3rd in rush yards through 3 weeks. I don't know why. I was so puzzled. I'm like, why doesn't anybody like him? Like, I don't get it. So he has been amazing. And I don't have him on one of my teams. Would love to have him. Would absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. All right. And last but not least, number 10, I don't think blank is as good as their stats may appear.
This one made me laugh because I went with Joe Flacco because he's still in the top, like a 5 for, I don't even know, like passing yard. It just cracks me up. Zach Wilson's probably coming back this week. So sorry, Joe, your stats are getting punted out of the window, but had to go with that one because I thought it was hilarious. So
yeah, this is actually super funny because, again, I picked this person before they were named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. I'm going with Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence. So through 3 weeks right now, he has a 103 QBR rating, and he has 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Obviously, this past week, he just had that huge 3-touchdown game against a very good Chargers team. And so I think people are like very much so. I was watching Get Up or one of the shows on ESPN, and someone was even saying that he was like their dark horse candidate for MVP.
No.
Hold the phone. So I think people are really liking what they've seen from Trevor Lawrence so far. And yeah, those stats are obviously, those are nice stats, but don't get excited, people. I really do believe he is just a supremely mediocre NFL quarterback.
I am so happy that you said that, because I've been saying that since he's been in the NFL, and everyone's been trying to come at my throat, I feel, because he was, Clemson's golden boy. He was the college football golden boy. And I didn't like him in college for many reasons, but as soon as he stepped onto that team, I had made that argument. I've been making that argument. I just think he's going to be subpar, like you said. So I think, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen some things, even last week. I just think that was a good team win for Jacksonville to really go out and stomp at.
When you have James Robinson rushing for 100 yards, anytime your running back is having a game like that, that only helps the quarterback's game as well.
Yeah, like good for you. Like you're getting. So I'm happy that you picked him. Yeah. So God forbid I picked him again. The world would literally come at me. So I'm not the only one, guys. Come on, open your eyes here. All right. Well, that was a good one. Honestly, we're only 3 weeks in, but it's so good to kind of analyze all of those sections, of course. And I think we're even going to see some changes. We could play that game every week probably and get some with how this season's going, wildly different answers every single week. So, but that's the fun of the NFL. So we are going to move into the time of the episode. We are going to get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, fall, September being over, it being really cold out right now. My windows are open, but I feel that brisk breeze coming in. Anything that you want. Katie, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right. So obviously we've been doing this show almost 5 years, and I really pride myself on trying to give you guys good football advice. If you're in a survivor pool and you need help with picks, I try to be that, helpful source. Fantasy football, try to be helpful. My get it off my chest this week is stop listening to me. I suck fantasy football. Okay, I'm really freaking bad. And I don't even want to tell you. I mean, the receipts are up on our Instagram if you want to count. I don't even want to tell you the amount of game picks that I got right this last week. I don't trust myself right now. So I'm telling all of you, do not trust me either. Look at my picks this week. I know Caitlin's going to post it to social media. Pick the opposite of what Katie goes with. That's now the advice I'm giving you. Don't go with me. That's my get it off my chest.
I think of the scene from Mean Girls when Regina George is so mad at Katie Haring and she storms home and she's like cutting out and she's putting it in the burn book and she's like,
I'm the skankiest ugly bee. Don't listen.
Do not trust her.
Yeah, you can basically post that to our social media. The burn book thing.
I'm doing it. Oh my God. I'm crying.
Don't trust this bee.
I am literally posting that to our social media. Do not trust her. She is the skankiest bitch.
That's me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't trust her.
Oh my God. So funny. But no, Katie, I know you're hard on yourself right now. You have given our audience phenomenal advice over the years. So don't, it is a weird season.
I'm giving up on it.
It is a weird season. It's I don't even know. Maybe we'll find a happy medium in a week or two when these teams get their groove back, or no teams getting their groove back this season, and we're just going to be a free for all. So, but keep your hopes up. I think it'll be okay. But I appreciate your candor for sure when it comes to it. So mine is pretty quick as well. Katie and I went to the New York Giants Dallas game on Monday night at MetLife. Obviously, we didn't walk away with a win, but I must say, a win in my book was being back at MetLife Stadium, being back in a game, a home game for the Giants, going, tailgating, having some beers, meeting up with people. We obviously met up with the guys from Talking Giants, some other friends. We actually had, I thought this was great. One of the writers for CBS Sports, Dan Schneider, met us. He actually knew who we were, which is really cool. But it's always opportunities like that. You're going, you're eating, you're drinking with friends, you're just having conversations. Like, love that tailgating vibe. I must say though, getting into the stadium with that whiteout mentality, everyone having a towel, just really being engraved in it. I must say the excitement and the mentality, it felt a little different this time around. I think going into the game, knowing that we could potentially be 3-0, everyone was just really on, just really into it and just so excited, so proud to be a New York Giants fan. I even leaving the stadium, I was so proud to be a New York Giants fan. Like, it was really, really awesome to be there. Like, I just, Katie, like when Saquon scored, like jumping up, hugging you, hearing back in the New York groove, like that was just like, I like was there like breathing for like 5 minutes. It was just like the most like amazing feeling like to have in like such a long time, because we were there in person. And again, that whole atmosphere of the whiteout, of people waving their towels, the noise, it was loud. People.
Like, so when we were on defense, especially on third downs, and we're all going nuts, like I kept screaming throughout the game, like, we're here, because it's like, we showed up for you. We're trying to like, I know that we've been very like quiet because they haven't given us much to root for.
Right.
But it was like, we are here for you. We are behind you. And anything that we can do with our voices to help you in any way, we are here. Yeah. We are here for you.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The atmosphere was unbelievable. It really was.
It really was. And I think it's gonna continue. We do play Chicago home this weekend. Yeah. I think it's gonna I think it's going to continue this weekend. So I'm excited to hear the noise on TV. I think we heard it. It was interesting. I definitely think we heard it a little bit with Carolina, and then we got to be there in person, and we heard it a lot with Dallas.
Big game, yeah.
I think we're going to hear it a lot more this weekend. And I just, again, I know we didn't walk away with the W, but it was just such an incredible night to be there, to be surrounded by so many Giants fans, and just to be back in that groove, back in that New York groove. We didn't win, but
and to New York groove that hard in my life than when Saquon scored that touchdown. We New York groove, baby.
I New York groove in my living room all the time. You guys know I post my videos, but it was not the same. It was so much better. Yeah. Let's hope that keeps happening, and let's hope Katie and I get to New York groove in the stadium at least one or two more times this season. So, but yeah, it was great. I'm looking forward to, again. Listen, the Giants had to lose one this season, so
we've been asking for a long time now just for competitive football. Like, let us be in these games, give us chances to win, and they did that. And I know it was a loss, but we fought till the very end, and they played competitive football. So
they absolutely did, and for, like you said, for a long time we've been wanting this, and it's good to really actually come out on the end of these being happy. So, and even if it's a loss, you can still look at positive things up and down the field. So really cool. So, and that just makes me even more excited for this Sunday. So Let's go Giants.
Let's go Giants. But everything else that you want to watch this week, it's going to be Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on tonight at 8. That started already, but you can, catch it on demand. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 3 premiere. It is on tonight at 9 o'clock. Everybody get ready for
watching.
That. It is going to be a spicy season. NFL Week 4 Thursday Night Football. We've got good primetime games.
We do.
We've got Miami at Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. Sunday Night Football is going to be Kansas City at Tampa Bay. And then Monday Night Football is going to be a division matchup. Rams at the 49ers. 3 good games right there. And then speaking of good games, college football, we've got a lot of
It's a good
big
weekend.
time matchups this weekend. We've got number 7 Kentucky versus number 14 Ole Miss. Number 2 Alabama versus number 20 Arkansas.
Roll Tide, baby!
Number 9 Oklahoma State versus number 16 Baylor. Number 22 Wake Forest versus number 23 Florida State. And probably one of the biggest games of the weekend, number 5 Clemson versus number 10 NC State. So much good football this weekend. We're starting off a new Housewives premiere tonight with Salt Lake City. So much good stuff to look forward to. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining with us. We will catch you next Wednesday. Go G-Men. Caitlin will say go Alabama and go Salt Lake City. So
Got so many people to cheer for.
but thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Good night.